Guy told me one time, don't let yourself get attached to anything you are not willing to walk out on in 30 seconds flat if you feel the heat around the corner. I am never going back.
Welcome to Market Makers, everybody. Hope everybody had a fantastic July 4th. And to the rest of my audience, the other half of my audience around the world, I hope you guys are enjoying the World Cup because there's been some awesome games, like the Norway game was awesome. Lee's happy because UK pulled it out against Mexico. And I believe tonight we have US versus Belgium. And if we win, I do think this is the furthest we've ever gone in the World Cup, which is awesome. I grew up playing soccer. I was a right wing all the way into my teenage years, and I played a lot of tennis as well. So I really do enjoy the World Cup. I have a lot of friends from a lot of different countries around the world. So let's talk about the markets, though, because I'm here as always to give you guys the bald truth. Something nobody else is going to give you. They will give you the publicly accepted narrative on the street. That's all they will give you. So let's look at what's going on, guys. I saw Tom Lee this morning, and he said a record low, only 23% of money managers are beating the S&P, the lowest number in 5 years. Guys, every couple of months I bring up these stats because I just find data and statistics fascinating. 80%, it's a Pareto distribution, 80% of Wall Street cannot beat your grandmother investing in the S&P. Yet everybody hangs on their words that watches CNBC or Bloomberg or reads articles on Yahoo Finance as if they have anything intelligent to say when 80% of them cannot beat the S&P. So always keep that in mind because now more than ever it's important to be contrarian. Let's just look at the last two key events here. Going back to 2025, guys, this isn't ancient history. This is the last 18 months in the stock market. What are the two events they all got wrong? Trump gets elected into office, unveils his tariff plan. What happens? The market panics, goes down 22%. Why did it panic? Because the pundits on TV, the media, the Keynesian economists, they all came out and said tariffs are inflationary. They told you it's going to cause trade deals to be canceled. Potential global recession. The USA is going to get punished. Oh my God. What did I do? I went back and looked at the 1920s, looked at the Fordney-McCumber tariffs in 1922. Tariffs are a tax. They are not inflationary. And they also encourage domestic production. This is what Henry Clay talked about. This is what President McKinley talked about before he's assassinated. This is a boost to U.S. production. It is part of the historic American system. And what happened after that, guys? After we found our bottom at 48.20, which I gave you within $12 at the 50% fib, we got within $12 of that within 72 hours of the actual bottom. We went long. And what did you get out of that? 46% rally. Strongest turnaround rally in stock market history. You got 8 years worth of gains or 6 years worth of gains in just under a year. In about 9 months, you got 6 years worth of gains. These same pundits who knew nothing about tariffs. Again, the Fed came out with their own study, 150 countries months after all this passed, 150 countries. Tariffs are not inflationary. I mean, this is off the rip. I told you that. It's just absolutely crazy. These same experts come out and what happens? We hit our 7,000 target, which we predicted down here at 48.20, and you get the Iran conflict. The market goes down 9.97%. What was I telling you the whole time? This is going to be a pullback. You're going up to 7,500 still. What were the pundits telling you? $250 oil, global recession. This war could last years. Bloomberg for months talked about tank bottoms, tank bottoms. They brought on these commodity experts who told you you're going to $250 oil. You could see $400 a barrel. This is the 1970s all over again. And what did that expert class give you? They gave you the strongest rally in 40 years. the strongest rally since the early 1980s when Ronald Reagan was president. And what's super cringe is you still have a lot of YouTubers holding on to this narrative, even as we're up here, just what, $70 away from a new all-time high. So now more than ever, people always want to talk about inversing Kramer. It's so important to understand the expert class is really stupid. It's a class of lemmings. Most of them have never studied any economics outside of Econ 101 they took at Wharton or some famous business school. And it's all Keynesian economics. They don't understand concepts like inflation. They don't understand Milton Friedman. They don't understand von Mises, Hayek, Rothbard. They've never read any of this, so they don't understand economics. And then when a geopolitical conflict comes around, like Ukraine, or in this case, the Middle East, they all become experts in modern warfare, which is, it's just hilarious. And then you see the people on FinX and YouTube parrot whatever they say, and they're wrong all the time. And just as a case in point, look at where we were just last week. We were at 25 on the fear and greed index, right? Now we are in neutral, right? We are at almost an extreme fear because everybody is promoting the bubble narrative, circular financing. When's it going to pop? Guys, for months, I've been talking about rallying into July. Why have I been saying that? Do I have some type of, clairvoyance? No, because I can look at the chart from the last 3 years. What did we do back in 2023? Rallied into late July, corrected 11%. What did we do in 2024? Rallied into mid-July, corrected 10%. What did we do in 2025? Rallied into late July, did a pullback of 3.5% because, again, this was the strongest turnaround rally in stock market history. 3 years in a row, we rallied into mid or late July. My premise was we're going to do the same thing. And here we are, July 5th, 6th? Here we are, just July 5th or 6th. I don't know what day it is. July 6th. So we're going to do the same thing, and that's what I've been predicting. So what's the likely targets? How do we pull these targets? The same targets that have been hit every single level along the way. So we're looking at 70, 869, and 8,000. Your next key levels of resistance, you're at 75.46. We have SK Hynix this week, Samsung joining the NASDAQ. We have, SpaceX joining the NASDAQ as well. So lots of interesting things, plus July's earnings, right? We're going to have earnings. Are they going to be excellent? Are they going to beat expectations? Lots of reasons to believe we're going to repeat what we've done the last 3 years in a row, which is rally into mid to late July, which is still my base case. And as you can see, I think we're going up, guys. If we look at the S&P zoomed in, you're breaking out of this compression pattern because people don't know what these patterns are. This is a W. This is something Shabaka wrote about. This is something Gann wrote about. This is something Gartley made famous. You have a W pattern. You're breaking out to the upside. You're going on to these targets, right? It's a compression pattern. This is a beautiful pattern, and you're seeing it play out. 74.92 is support once again. You're at 75.47, and we're going to be on our way up to these higher levels. Guys, by the way, if you want to support the channel, please do like and subscribe. Consider joining us with the join button right there on YouTube. Get my video updates throughout the week. And you can also jump over to our Discord. And if you want to support the channel other ways, check out the video description. Check out those exchanges. It does help support us. I would appreciate it. So let's go ahead and continue. What about when we look at trends, guys? So on the Dow, right? Look at your trends, all right? I'm using the 518 RMA. That's my trend. That's how I track trend. Look at the daily out to long-term trends, including the S&P, by the way. Daily, 3-day, weekly, monthly, all bullish on the S&P, on the Dow, on the NASDAQ. We're going to look at this as we go through it here. Where's my next key levels that we have here on the Dow? 59,944 is the price, 53.5, and then 54K are the next levels up. Look at the separation here in the trend. It is a powerful uptrend here on the daily we're looking at on the Dow. If we look at the NASDAQ, daily, 3-day, weekly, monthly, what are they all? Bullish, right? We're on the weekly here on the NASDAQ. hit our targets, 29,553, 31K. What's the next level? We're going to end up somewhere in this green space up here before proceeding to 34K. But let's look at this. If we look at this, it's the exact same pattern you're seeing on the S&P. You got a beautiful W breaking out. You need to break out to the upside, break the trend line, crack the midpoint, and go up. And then you can see 31.8, 32,279, your trend line that you found resistance on. This all needs to be flipped. You're seeing a lot of rotation in tech right now. You have money flowing out of the Mag 7 into semis, into other areas. You may have money flowing back into Mag 7, which I believe will be the case post-market top and correction. I think you're going to see a lot of money go back into the Mag 7. Why? Because a lot of them are down, right? They're down substantially versus look at the semis. Semis are chock full of crowded trades right now. Look at the Russell. Daily, 3-day, weekly, monthly, everything's bullish. Russell 3,035. We're going to push on towards 3,242 is my next key level on the Russell. Right now, you're finding resistance right at that 3,035. If we look at the DAX for our European friends, the DAX broke out to the upside in a W fractal. Again, predicted this before we had the breakout. Looking at the DAX going to 26.4 and 26.950. Those are my two upside levels. Also have a trend line cutting through there. I believe you're going to see that move in July, even though the ECB stupidly raised rates, which does nothing to curb inflation, which is a temporary price adjustment in the energy space. It does nothing to curb that. And of course, now Brent is way down. And, you know, stupid mistake they made. And people get to pay the price for the bank's stupid mistakes. We look at Tesla. Let's look at some individual stocks. 414. Tesla's got a key position in my portfolio. Reloaded some back in the April 2025 tariff sell-offs, as you guys know if you're watching the channel. Also traded this up move. But 414 is where we're at now. Supports at 381, 395, 453, 481. These are upside targets for Tesla being at 414. I think we can hit those come this July. If we look at SPXX, about to say SPX again. Everybody keeps asking me for TA on SpaceX, and I totally understand. I'm going to be buying a position in SpaceX, but for me, it's going to happen after the top and then the correction. Then I will be buying a position in SpaceX because this is a 1 hour chart. There's just not a lot to show you. It opened up at 135 on the IPO, instantly came in higher than that at 150, ran all the way up to 225. You're at 160. You're still above the IPO price, but there's just not a lot of TA here. You got resistance at 172. You have support at 147, and you've had this type of pattern right now, which you have a cup. This could be your handle right here. If it decides to break out with the market move in July, you can look for more upside on SpaceX. Again, this is a very small sample size here of a 1 hour time frame. You don't have a lot of candles, but let's just look at some key levels. 618, 786. Possible targets if you break out to the upside, 186, 195, 208. Again, I will be incorporating SpaceX into my portfolio after the market top, and or not the top, but the top for this year after we make a top and retrace, because 2027, as you guys know, 28 are going to be gangbuster years, I believe. So let's look at the SOX real quick. SOX is still oscillating up here near its record all-time highs after this parabolic move. Again, you're going to start seeing money rotation, but you got SK Hynix and you got Samsung coming in to the NASDAQ this week. So it'll be interesting to see how the SOX reacts. But if we want to look at just one thing here, like AMD still pushing up near its all-time record highs, 566 right now. You got all the way just above 575. Look at that trend. That is a power trend to the upside. But again, all good things will top. That money will come out and profit take, and it will rotate to other sectors. In the meantime, you have a powerful up move in AMD. Be important to watch the semis as they play out the remainder of July. Crypto video out next, guys. Be sure to give that a watch as well. See you in the next one.